We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo.
And we're also joined by nobody. Just the OGs back at it again. What else is new for the episode 2 Spies, Lies, and Allies recap show? And I don't know, another episode I enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what Alex thinks. I saw a couple of his tweets tonight, and I think we might clash heads tonight on some people. There were some things he said he didn't like, and I was bulging at during the episode. So we'll get into that. But Alex, initial thoughts on tonight's episode. What were you thinking?
I liked it overall. I liked the episode overall. I just feel kind of like conflicted just because of the way that it ended with the elimination. Because on one hand, and we'll get to this when we get to the elimination. On one hand, like I like that it was an upset. Like seeing an upset and an elimination is always good. But on the other hand, I couldn't stand either of the two people that won. And I was kind of excited to see like Kells make it a little further in the game. So like I just feel conflicted about kind of the way it ended. But overall, like you said, it was a good episode. I mean, it's still trying to cram 30 plus people in an hour and a half, which is always hard. But overall, challenge was average. I thought we got a good amount of like non-challenge drama that we'll get into, and then the elimination was good too.
No, absolutely. I just think personally it was just a good episode, a lot happening, and I mean, is this season more? Maybe I'm just paying attention to it more, but is there a lot more love drama this season than in the past?
Like with like hookups and
stuff like that. I just feel like maybe right out of the gate we kind of saw it. So maybe that's what I was thinking, but I just feel like I don't know. Maybe it's actually Nelson too, and the vibes and stuff. I don't know. I don't hate it. I actually like it. The whole. I mean, we all saw the whole Ashley blow up coming. I just love how everybody knew it was going to happen, and obviously it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just something. Maybe with the whole quarantine last season, they really didn't have that many hookups or anything. But yeah, again, like I said, another solid episode to start the year. Praying we keep these vibes going. But yeah, let's just kind of get right into the episode. And actually, right before we get into the episode, we do have a special message from our third host. He is, I don't even know. I don't know where he's currently at. Do we know? Alex?
What is this?
Oh, God. So, yeah, third host, good old Andy. Let's see what he got for us tonight.
Hey, boys and girls. Andy reporting live again off campus. We're out here recording Fresh Meat 4. I actually drafted Fezzi as my rookie because he's still plays the game like he doesn't know what he's doing. But sorry, I can't be joining you guys for the live recap. I'm not going to be seeing any bit of the episode. I will give my MVP, LVP. My MVP I'm going to give to CT because I'm sure he did something that was just a classic veteran move to get himself as one of the biggest threats in the game. LVP, I don't want to give it to Fezzi just because I feel like I'm going to be giving it to him enough when he deserves it, and I don't know if he deserves it, even though he probably will. But I'll give my LVP to Nani, just because I feel like she's just going to do something dumb, put a big target on her back. So MVP CT, he's back. He's not going anywhere. LVP Nani, figure it out. And, yeah, sorry to not be joining you guys, but I'm sure you guys are going to just kill it. And please talk enough shit about Fezzi for me. Love you guys.
God, so I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, obviously, I think we can say he's probably 0-2 on his picks tonight. And the fact that he's not on tonight's show, episode 2, worries me. And
because he kind of got, I think, scared off by Fezzi coming on last episode.
Absolutely. Kind of shady stuff. I know most of you guys listen to EP1 of Stir the Pod, and, we had the good old Fezzi what's it called, cameo and kind of bagging Andy. And looks like Andy kind of got scared and, he didn't want to come on the podcast this week. So not a fan. I don't know. So
Went home early.
Exactly. So kind of getting back into the swing of things, looking at the actual recap for tonight. The first thing I like to point out is, Alex, is your take officially back? I believe Michelle was the first one who walked in the house.
Is this the old elimination winners walking? I think so. I think that didn't that go on last season almost the whole way, right? I think there was one that it missed.
I think it was like towards the end when there was like
one was kind of a tiebreaker or like a tie.
Yeah, walking in same time.
Yeah.
But I noticed that. First thing I noticed, good old Michelle walking in first, and her partner Corey, right, with an L.
Yes.
Won the elimination. Excuse me. I think Devin was kind of in front of him, but still.
See, that's the thing. I think the streak is going to be a little different this season because the two elimination winners might not necessarily be walking back into the house as teammates still.
Oh, I didn't even think Michelle was with Devin. I didn't even think of that.
There's Michelle and Corey, but they're on different teams now, so now there's 4 people. So I think we'll get into that.
Yeah. So good old victories of the last elimination, or one of them walking in with the other person. Classic. Then we got kind of the love in the air, like we talked about. We see kind of a couple characters, Nani, Casey kind of sneaking off. We kind of see Tori and Kells, laying in bed, and then we have the whole Nelson, Ashley. I don't even know what to call this. What do you think a good word? Just shit show? I mean, that relationship to me is just out of control. We see in episode 1, they're just oh yeah, Ashley just kind of drops nonchalantly, we're Nelson's my neighbor. He lives right down the street in Austin or whatever. Then she's making out with him in the kitchen or whatever, and I'm just wait, whoa. I mean, there's a fine line between friends and then just hooking up with your friends. I mean, it's a little different, I would say. So anything you want to put about that?
I think shit show is probably the perfect word to describe it. And this is something I wanted to touch on tonight because I think they kind of showed it EP1, but we didn't. I don't think we really covered it on the pod. Was the whole Nelson and Ashley thing. I mean, I'm a fan of it just because it is a shit show. It is 2 challengers who are vets and also known for just being kind of all over the place, firecrackers. Obviously, we saw tonight there was another girl thrown into the mix. Now it seems
Bertha.
Yeah, it's Bertha.
I mean, that was just classic. I mean, just screaming. And I don't know if you noticed, even Nelson said Bertha. What? I mean, that was just so classic. And then, yes, Jesse Adams. I know that this was a little later in the episode, but Devin with the one-liner about instead of Ashley Millionaire Mitchells, it should be Ashley Meltdown Mitchells. Very strong. And again, I don't want to give credit where credit's due, but Devin is pretty good with those one-liners. I'm not saying bananas level, with the who put a nickel in Joss and all that shit, but I mean he's working it up. You got to give credit where credit's due.
So. I think he's good. It seems a little too rehearsed at sometimes.
I mean that's right.
But this Nelson Ashley thing, because the challenge hasn't even started yet, and this is just a classic, I feel like we say it every fucking episode, but just a classic challenge foreshadow. You see something before the challenge, it's going to come up later in the episode. And the same thing with the veterans talking about, who they're going to go for. It's Kells, surprise, surprise, that comes up later too. Those are really the 2 main things. I think we'll probably get into most of those after the challenge. Anything else that's kind of stuck out to you? The one thing before we get into the challenge that I kind of tweeted about was just the fact that there was the scene where they went, they had the party in the house after the elimination, and everybody seemed happy. It was a weird change of pace.
Good vibes.
Good, very good vibes. People were dancing, all of this stuff. And I feel like the past 2 seasons have been so dark. Everybody's mad. And even in the party scenes, it feels like that past couple seasons, we haven't gotten some of the vibes that we got tonight.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I think, especially from even episode 1 when we saw that, it was very like, it was their birthdays, but it didn't look like people were that excited. Like, they were like celebrating. You have the occasional 3 people you would see. Tonight, you definitely saw it out. And, I know we didn't address this in the last episode because we don't really read anything that happened from the season. We try to go in as blind as possible. And I guess that was the moment there was a COVID break in between. Um, we try to stick away from all those spoilers. We don't want to know anything until once the season's over. So I know people were commenting at us, coming at us like, how the fuck do you not know this and stuff like that? But like, sorry, we don't go there. Sorry, we're not on the Reddit boards and, on the demos or whatever the hell it's called, looking up spoilers and stuff. So sorry about that. But yeah, where were we? I kind of lost my train of thought with that.
Let's get into the challenge.
No, a little before that too. A little foreshadowing with Josh kind of going at Kels for no reason, really. That was he kind of had that little talk, and they're like, I'm macho. This is Kels. Like, he looks so strong. I'm scared to go against him. And when has Josh had any pull in the house? I thought that, and I know we'll kind of get into it throughout the episode, he kind of controlled that episode.
It was a very weird feeling watching the deliberation and thinking like somebody who had never seen the challenge before would watch that scene. They would be like, oh, this Josh guy is the leader of the house probably every season. He's a political mastermind. He's calling the shots. And then obviously us, challenge fans know that like, what the fuck is the goof doing taking charge of a room of 30 people?
Absolutely. Makes no sense. Aaliyah hopes, right? Why did Nam go home? I believe we also missed that. I believe he did have COVID.
I think he's the one. Yeah, I think he's the one that had COVID.
Correct.
Just set a total. Trev, I did mean to tell you, I did start the old timer from when TJ started talking about Nam to when Nam was done. Like when TJ said Nam has been deactivated, he's going home.
7 seconds.
It was actually longer than I thought it would be. It was 10.4 seconds.
All right.
So I think we've seen in the past sometimes there'll be like 3-second departures. Nam's entire
he had 10.4 seconds of airtime this season.
Well, not even airtime, just TJ talking about Nam. Yeah. So yeah, Nam's entire Spies, Lies, and Allies can be boiled down to a 10-second sentence.
And I understand he had COVID and stuff, and production kind of wants to hide that or whatever. You got to give the guy some spotlight. I mean, one line, I don't even know if he definitely didn't have a confessional. If he did, he was just like, or something like that. Like he definitely had zero airtime, zero like the partner. So like, I don't know. If I'm production, I at least highlight that a bit or something. Like,
they're acting like we don't all know that like
COVID's a thing. Because realistically, it's completely different from the whole what's her name's story a couple seasons ago.
Lolo?
No. D. It's completely different. Yeah. Like, fuck D. Like, you shouldn't do that. I understand. But the whole thing about, it's a different topic. I don't want to, we can talk about it for days, but we're not trying to get into it. So, anything else we got before the challenge? Anything?
I think it was just foreshadowing for later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenge itself. So for this challenge, they basically had one person in a helicopter and one person in the Range Rover, and they basically just had to catch, little. I don't even know what they were. Just kind of like, what would you even call that?
I don't know. I was gonna say like they might have said like grenades, or they were like shaped like grenades. They were like that.
They remind me of like, when you have like balloons and you tie them down with like that's what they reminded me of. But I don't know. Like I didn't mind this challenge. But the one thing that I always think about when I see TJ on that long strip, coming in with the car and stuff, I feel like they need to do the one where the people are driving stick shift again.
Was that free agents?
Yes, I love that challenge. I think that challenge is awesome, where you have two people, more than likely, they don't know how to drive stick shift, which is crazy to me. And then the little tricycles where it's like the reverse and they're going through the obstacle. Like, I love that shit. That shit's hilarious. So besides that, the challenge itself, what did you think? I didn't mind it. I think it was, there's some aspects I still have no idea. Like, what was the whole point of the sprint at the end? Like, if it came down to just whoever got the most, wouldn't you just want to take your time? I know the only scenario that would matter would obviously be if two people at 30. I understand that. But the two things are, couldn't you just take your time? And second, was there a limit of how many of those things you had, or were there like 50 of them and you could just keep tossing them? Like, was there a set, let's say like 35, and that was it? Do we know?
I don't think they mentioned that. I had that same thought as I was watching it, because you notice like some teams had the little things that they were like kind of like very like patient and like deliberately like throwing them down, whereas other teams are just like grabbing them and throwing them. Which like if there's 100 things on there, why wouldn't you just fucking throw them and see what happens?
I would just pick up the bin and just toss it.
They're like getting pelted with them in the head.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I didn't mind this challenge. I actually enjoyed it.
I thought
it was too fast, I think.
Yeah.
There needs to be another element to it. But even still, I mean, the thing is, like, realistically, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds? It's just a long strip and you're going like 50 miles per hour or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe add something to it. I don't know what, but
well, the thing is, I feel like in a season like this, when they have 34 people from episode 1, I feel like you're almost to a point where you can't even really get like really, really good challenges until about episode 4. Because there's so many people. Yeah. So like you can't have something. And I guess the preview for next week actually looked cool, that challenge in the water or whatever.
Didn't see it. Did not. I don't watch the previews.
But like this one, I mean, I feel like when you have to go so fast, there's only so much you can do. And like you said, it was fast. They kind of did like their classic thing where like they show the first couple heats, like you kind of get an idea of what the challenge is. Then they cut to a commercial. Then they come back and they just like fly through. They're like Anissa and what's his name, Nani and you're going, and then it's just like they fly through it.
That's just like a classic challenge thing. I feel.
Yeah,
it's always like they always do the classic. The first 2 teams take forever. Like it's literally like a 3-minute thing or whatever, and then those middle chunks are just like they start playing the music or whatever. And it's just so classic. They play the music, play the song for like 60 seconds or whatever, knock out 12 teams at that time, and then they show like 2 more teams or how about the one thing I want to bring up to you, and I also in the chat, I want to hear your guys' opinions on this. Emmy and Ed, for example. Emmy's scared of heights. In that scenario, if you're Ed, do you put her in the helicopter or not?
I think you don't, but I think he also said that he wasn't aware.
Yes. But I mean, like, there's other people out there like Big T, and I think she said she's scared of heights, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's very tricky because obviously catching is an aspect, but like, I would rather have someone more comfortable up there throwing it, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, I feel like
she was like crying about to go up.
Yeah, I feel like if, let's say you're on a team and neither of you are afraid of heights, then I feel like you put the worst person in the car. Well, I guess even if especially if that person is afraid of heights, you put that person in the car, because I feel like that's probably the easier thing, is just to stand there and like look for them and catch them. And then if somebody is afraid of heights, even if they might be better to stand in the helicopter, you put them in the car. But I feel like overall the challenge is probably pretty easy. Like it seemed like it was more a matter of like
how many you could get off, realistically.
Yeah, and can the speed of the helicopter stay steady with the speed of the car? And if it does, then you just get a pace going and you're good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Looks like the chat, Aaliyah Hope writes, I would, because I don't think she'd be great at catching either. It seems like most people would say they would keep her in the helicopter, which I probably would too. It's just, a thing that some people are, uncomfortable with. Mikey the Doctor writes, did they even explain why everyone had to sprint at the end? I think that was just basically a time thing. Like I kind of said earlier, just because if 2 teams obviously had 30, whoever did it
Yeah.
faster. But like I probably would have just taken my time and done it. Like just take your time, sweet ass time, just chug, throw, get in that rhythm. So and then we kind of had, and you kind of said it earlier. We had Josh standing without a partner for a while, and we were wondering what was going on with that. And Lauren, right?
Yeah, Lauren, my
Lauren
LVP.
got yes, Lauren got deactivated. Have no idea why. I don't think any of us know why. So hopefully one of you guys in the chat can tell us. We have no idea. So
From what I've heard, it's
weird.
I know some extent of it actually. I think it was racially insensitive comments that she was making inside the house, like during the challenge, during the first week or so. And so they just they gave her the boot. They gave her the Eddie treatment of the past.
Yeah, fuck her. All right, we don't even need to get time. We don't need.
We got Amber. What do we think of Amber?
Well, here's my thing about the whole Amber thing. Fuck production for basically spoiling it in the trailer. What's the point of having a big reveal and just throwing that? I mean, it's the defending champ, and I get it's episode 2, and like it's not a huge thing, but that whole scene, everybody knew who the fuck was coming. It's not like we all knew. I mean, she's literally walking on the runway saying, "I'm back, bitches," or whatever. Like, who else could it be? So I mean, come on, like, you know, MTV does a lot of the foreshadowing, which, you know, sometimes you have to do, sometimes you don't really need to. I think stuff like that, I would rather be shocked and be like, oh shit, the defending champ is back. Because that's something very easy you can keep underneath, you know, the radar with that kind of stuff. So not really a fan with that. But on the flip side, very happy to see her back. She's kind of in an interesting spot, I think. You know, she has a lot to prove, you know, big target on her back. She's kind of with the Big Brother alliance, and we all know the Amber B and Fezzi clashing. So should be interesting to see how that all is going to happen. And kind of skipping forward just a little bit, I love how Josh was so protective of Amber B. Like Fezzi was like, should I throw her in now? Josh was like, no, we can't. She would fuck up my game plan. No. So thought that was really funny. So what do you think? You're a fan of Amber B, right? I think she brings a lot to the table. I mean,
yeah, I like it. I think production kind of dropped the ball from 2 aspects. I think, like you said, the fact that it's almost comical how they can possibly think that like cutting to a commercial is like, oh, this big, like, what's gonna happen, when they literally include it as not just in the trailer, but as like the last scene of the trailer.
Yeah, like
this we're closing out on. Yeah. And then I guess also the other thing that was kind of running through my mind was just the fact that clearly Amber B was the producer's #1 female replacement for the season, because Lauren's the first girl to go home. So Amber was the first girl they had on standby. So why not just include her from the beginning?
Well, that's the thing.
She's reigning champ.
Yeah, I was about to say that. How do you not put a defending? You have one of these rookie clowns on the show, but you don't have a defending champ on the show. There must have been something like she didn't think she could do it or something, and it was a last minute call, and she's like, "Okay, I'm good." There has to be. There's no way they can leave her out. There's no way, right? They can't be that stupid, right? Like, we all know that, right?
and I think it does instantly like elevate the female cast a little bit. And we talked about this in our preview, just how like weak in terms of like challenge track record all of the cast is as a whole. And so now it's like you have, I think Casey and Ashley were like our top 2 girls, like 2 proven, like Ashley's a 2-time champ. Casey's like been in the past 2 finals. Now you add Amber B. I think that's kind of your top 3 right now. And then you have like a solid second tier of like Tori, Nani, maybe some of the rookies. So I feel like, I mean, just on paper, obviously replacing a Who and Lauren with a literal reigning champion, it's about a big of an upgrade as you could make, realistically.
I do want to bring this up, and I don't want to try to go completely off the rails, but I really do like this question from Mikey the Doctor. You know, last season, I vividly remember us literally saying Amber B, who, like, first couple episodes, really flew under the radar for most of the game until kind of the last, 7 episodes, which 7 episodes is typically a season, basically in the good old days. But do we see any potential from any rookies? So from a who to a champ. And I'm going to throw out a name. Maybe it's fresh off the press, and I know you're not going to be a fan of it, but I bulge at Ed. I really do. I do. Maybe it's the Philly in him that I like, but oh my God, he's awesome. I mean, one of the best teammates possible he's like, Emmy, calm down. We got this. Really good teammate during the actual challenge. The elimination, and I don't want to get too far ahead, he was perfect in. So I really like him a lot. And, Jesse Adams, I see him just wrote now. I do like a lot of those Survivor people. I do like a lot. I think they kind of have like that mindset, and it's like the quitting aspect. They don't quit.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. And Aaliyah Hope just writes, it seems like a lot of people like Ed. So I'm glad people like Ed because I know Alex is not a fan, and I smirk at him. So
I'm gonna save some of my thoughts on Ed for the elimination. But what I will say in terms of can somebody like I think it was Mikey the Doctor, can somebody from this season turn from a episode 1 who to like a champion like Amber did last season? I don't know. Amber really is like, she broke the mold on how we because like we've seen rookies have really impressive performances, but it's like you can recognize it typically from right away. Whereas like Amber B was silent, like you said, for the first half of the season. And so nobody really saw that coming. And so I think, though, in order for that to kind of happen again, it would have to be a similar situation that Amber had of her getting partnered with CT at the exact right time. So, like, I don't know if it would be a guy necessarily, because they would have to beat CT and they would have to beat Fezzi and Corey and a lot of other good guys. Whereas, like, somebody like Michelle won that elimination first episode. She looks pretty good. She looks pretty bad, by the way. But like if Michelle gets the right partners along the way and ends up with CT in a final, she could easily, be another Amber B. But yeah, the Amber B, I mean, we're kind of just on an Amber B rant right here. And like I said, I'll kind of give some of my thoughts on Ed and the elimination, but Amber B, I think just is a massive upgrade for what we have.
Oh, absolutely. But to answer that question, I think I do like Esther too for some reason. I really do like her.
We might have to get some rookie segment started here pretty soon to kind of talk about rookies each episode.
Absolutely, and just to get to know them. Good Lord, I still got to watch that episode 0. So then we have our winners, Fezzi and Esther, win, and I mean. Honestly, I wasn't that surprised. I mean, when you have a Division I football player who played at University of Tennessee catching those passes, I mean, he should win, right? I mean, playing in the big bad SEC East, I mean, all you had to do is throw a lob pass to him and, he should catch it. So good for him, getting the dub. I mean, he was probably minus 500 Chattanooga. So good to see that. Alex, what do you have to say about that dub?
I mean, it kind of brought back memories to last season because I think Fezzi won a lot of early season challenges. And I mean, I feel like this one kind of, like we said, the challenge itself leveled the playing field. Like I feel like 10 teams could have had a shot in that. And Fezzi, we'll get into this. I think he kind of executed his power position about as well as he could have.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they pick up the dub. Good for them. I mean, Fezzi with power. I mean, not the best thing in the world, but
what could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? So then we go back to the house and we go back to the bar. And I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but it looked exciting. You had the classic makeouts. You kind of had the classic schemings coming along. So what do we have to say about the whole Fez and Kells situation?
Fez and Kells, I mean, I feel bad for Kells. I really do, especially seeing how it ended. Because, like, the reason he went home was basically because people viewed him as a threat, which they should because of how big of a guy he is. And he like didn't make any deals with Fezzi, and then they tried to say he was making deals with everybody.
Well, Josh is a snake. He got caught, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I mean, he got. I mean, he called them out and said, "Okay, who am I? Who have I said it to?" And literally asked. He went down. The fact that he went down the line and said that. Oh my God, that was
good.
And I think that the vets already know this because I hope they're not that stupid. Is Josh calling this guy out and him saying, "You're fucking lying. Here, I'll prove it right now. Who do I have an alliance with?" Like, how can you trust Josh if you're a vet? He'd be the first one. I mean, yes, you want to keep him as long as possible because obviously he's the weakest person, so you can get him out as easy. But like, what are we doing here? Like with that. So I don't know. But you have that, the hype up. And then,
Trev, we're at a bar for the first time since I think Total Madness.
Yeah, it's good to see. Great to see.
Even though it was clearly like reserved and like rented out for the cast only.
Hey, it's better than in the snow globe, and it's better than just on the back deck. So great to see that. And then we had the whole Ashley versus Bertha situation. So I feel bad for Berna in that situation, honestly. I mean, what was she doing wrong? I mean, she was kind of, flirting with Nelson, and in all seriousness, kind of is Nelson. And I hate to say this. Was Nelson in the wrong? Is he the bad guy? Absolutely, I think so. I mean, he's playing two girls. I mean, come on.
Is he though? Is he playing Ashley?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. He in his confessional, I mean, he made it seem like, no, me and Ashley, nah, we're good, and all that stuff. We're just friends. But realistically, episode 1, you're literally making out with her and stuff. You're kissing her and doing all that stuff. Even after the challenge, you're like kissing her and stuff like that. Like, just the way he portrays himself to Ashley. Ashley, I don't know. I think if I'm Ashley, I'm more pissed at Nelson because he's basically playing two girls. That's how I look at it.
I think how I kind of saw this all unfold and what my guess is that I kind of see it as Ashley and Nelson live close to each other. We heard that last episode. They live close to each other pretty recently. I think Ashley moved there pretty recently. But it seems like what their like home life is not a relationship. It's just two people who are in the same city and hooking up. Now, naturally, when that happens, one person or both people are probably going to start developing feelings. And
Which Ashley is, absolutely.
It seems like Ashley is the one person who is developing feelings, whereas Nelly is just like, oh, I get to hook up with this girl every weekend. I don't give a shit. Like
yeah, but that's Nelson's. That's right there. What you just said is the problem.
But
Nelson's the problem.
But that's who he is. He doesn't care.
Scuba Nelly should not be swimming into people's DMs and all over the place.
And then they come on to the challenge. Ashley's probably expecting them in like a random, foreign country with 20 strangers to be like even tighter with Nelson. Yeah. And for like Nelson to not talk to any other girls. Whereas Nelly T in his mind is like the monkey with the symbols. He has nothing going on up there. And so in his mind, he sees this Bertha chick and he's like, ooh, Nelly T like. And so he's like, yeah, I'm all in on that. Yeah. And then that just all leads up to that scene, which can we just talk about how hammered Ashley was? She couldn't keep her eyes open.
Her eyes were just like, dude, she is scary drunk. I think, is it safe to say in the challenge, MTV, Real World, whatever you want to call it, their whole universe, have we seen her drunk the most at any person?
Like most often?
I don't know. Would you say
there's a ratio?
Well, if we're on average, she has to be one. I don't even think it's close. I think almost every season she gets hammered. I mean, the only other person I could think of was early days Tony.
Ooh, or Camilla.
I was thinking Camilla too. Well, the thing about Camilla is she's done so many seasons, and there's a good stretch where she kind of just doesn't get drunk, like for like 6 episodes, but then she always gets the occasional 8. I just feel like what's her name just gets, she's just always hammered.
Well, the thing that's tough though about that is, like we've talked about many times before, is that Ashley is about half the time going home episode 1, so she doesn't even have the chance to get really hammered. But tonight she showed out. She could not even open her eyes. Bertha, and then I think was it Amber? I think it was Amber who was literally the newest person on the show, and she's like, I think her name's Berna, and Ashley says no, it's Bertha.
God.
And I think Nelson went along with it.
Yeah, Ryan McCord. I guess, yeah, Ryan McCord was talking about how there's sloppy people early. I actually think, who was the person, God, Tanya, Jesus.
Mount Rushmore drunk challengers.
Who was the girl that tried to hook up with CT?
Oh,
Rivals 2.
Anastasia.
Yes. Her. And I also think of, realistically, what people forget, if we're going by season, Teresa, fresh meat.
Fresh, yeah. She cooled it off a little after that.
That stretch though, she was going from guy to guy. Are you kidding me?
Fresh meat, yeah, fresh meat. She was pretty good. I'm trying to think who were like
Miz. Smirk.
Miz.
God, the Miz.
Trying
to fight Kenny. Yeah, it's so classic.
Obviously, we remember Brad.
I know we bring this up every once in a blue moon, but that face of Wes when he finds out Teresa got declined, basically went for Kenny first. That dumbfound. Someone's got to find that picture. That picture is just one of the best pictures the challenge. That is just that should be in the Hall of Fame of pictures the challenge has ever produced.
We got to tweet that out.
Adam Meadows is talking about the bulge at the face. So yeah, absolutely. So Ashley versus Berna happens, and then we go to the voting, and this is where we kind of talked about it earlier, the whole Josh versus Kel's situation, where Josh basically just comes out of left field and basically just says Kel has all these alliances and all this stuff, and I mean, in the end, like, he has no alliance with anybody. He's played it pretty low. I mean, his first partner was Tori and kind of didn't say a word, wasn't really saying anything. And I just felt bad with Kels this entire episode. Like, I really like him a lot. Like, spoilers ahead, but I want him back, like, on another season. I think there's a lot of potential with him. And, I just think it was one of those challenges or eliminations where, it's tough with two people. And, we'll get into it. But the whole Josh versus Kel situation in the voting, what would you think about that? Just Josh getting called out for the lies, and I mean, obviously Kel's being a rookie, hard situation to come back on. So what do you think?
I also feel bad for Kel's. I guess I am glad though that, like we said, in that scene, he was able to at least expose Josh and be like, go down the line and say like, dude, what you're saying is literally true, and I'm proving it to your face in front of everybody. And at the same time, like they said, I think in confessionals and like in the room, was that basically Kels was like, Josh, you don't want to vote me in because I'm making deals. You want to vote me in because you think I'm a threat, and just say that. And Josh said that, I think, in his confessionals, which is like, it's fair for Josh, to think that way, because Josh should see a toilet as a threat to him. But I mean, the fact that Josh was kind of leading the charge was just like funny, and you can't really take him seriously. And then I think Kells even said like, what was his line? He was like, I know I haven't seen the challenge that much, but like, I know that you're not exactly like the big like strategy player. Yeah.
He basically said like, you think you're going to outsmart me kind of thing. And, like, I mean, Jesse Adams, I 100% agree. His one-liners just I mean, it was just like right.
Yeah. And it really just came down to Kells not having numbers.
Oh yeah. That's all. Well, here's the big, and let me say one thing before I talk about the numbers. Another funny thing that was happening. Were you watching everybody's facial reaction? Like Tories and CTs when he was saying, they were just like, oh God, this shit's hilarious. But what you have to do in Kel's situation, one, he was blindsided, absolutely. But his speech at the end, and obviously we didn't see the whole 20 minutes, so we don't know what happened. But what he should have done was round up the rookies right there and say something. Because what you notice, and we kind of saw where the votes were going. None of them are together at all. So, like, realistically, you have 7 votes from the vets going one way. Just be like, yo, like, we're fucked. Like he's fucked in that situation is what I'm saying. So, like, we saw some people say, oh, I'm voting for Josh. Oh, I'm voting for this. You're just wasting votes on that way. Kels should have came up with that plan. Now, I know you got to think on the spot and stuff. Be like, okay, you want to play that game? Rookies, I'm telling you right now, we have the numbers. Vote Josh right now, and let's get him out of the game or something like that.
Yeah. He should have been like.
Go ahead.
He should like when Devin was like, okay, if it's not you, Kels, who is it going to be? Kels should have been like rookies. Like, if you guys look around and they vote me and I go home, what do you think they're going to do next week? They're going to get another one of you. So, come with me. Yeah.
They need the rookies in whatever alliance they're trying to have. They need to be on the same page, and they're not on the same page at all. I mean, the votes are going in 10 different directions. And I just cannot believe they're just this dumb and don't realize they're just getting picked off one by one. Like,
yeah, and it's kind of like what they said, I think, early on in the episode was that, like, they wanted to go for Kels in part because he's kind of like their ringleader.
Yeah.
But what we saw is that he's really not. They don't have a ringleader. Kels is just the best rookie that they could go for.
Absolutely. So, sad to see him get voted in. And then we go to the elimination. You're wondering who they're going to throw in. The first person they throw in is Emmy. Not surprising. After her performance, and she was crying most of it, and obviously cried during the voting, which we'll get, or the when she's down on the, I want to say the killing floor, but it's not that, obviously, in the stand. So then it becomes, the classic, who's Fezzi going to throw in? But he plays it safe and throws Ed in. So you got Ed and Emmy taking on Josh and Kels. And before we get into the elimination, if you're Fezzi or any vet in chat, chime in on this. When do you pull the trigger and start to make a power move in this game? I think it would have been early because you would have lost trust. Absolutely. I think it would have been very similar to a couple seasons ago. I think Laurel was the one who kind of rocked the boat, and that's when she kind of got tossed in. I think it was too early in the game to make that move. In this scenario, when do you make that move, though?
Yeah, I agree that tonight would have been too early. I think it's almost like, I feel like if you're a vet, you have to not pull the trigger at least until you feel like there's like a big crack in the foundation. Like, I don't think it should happen next week. I don't, maybe the week after that or whatever. But I just feel like we kind of saw it for one scene tonight where it was like maybe Tori's going to flip to save Kels or whatever. But like, until something actually is like a bit more concrete in that regard, don't rock the boat until, like, you feel like other vets are kind of jumping ship. In that case, pull the trigger, take out a big dog, and then just shake it all up. Yeah. And like, I think we kind of said it in episode 1 is like an interesting storyline. It seems like for the early part of the season is going to be just how long this veteran alliance can go on. And it looks like we're 2 for 2 so far. We're 2 episodes in, and it's sticking strong. So we'll have to just follow that week to week. Yeah.
God, if I'm Fezzi in that situation, what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
If I'm Fezzi in that situation, I would have been like, tonight I'm voting for Nelson. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm not voting for him. I'm voting for Ed or something. Just like see what would have happened. Just kind of stir in the pot just a little to see everything. So they're down on the floor, and God, Emmy just crying. Like, I don't think anything. I don't think I've seen a person cry so much besides Josh about going down into elimination. One thing I do want to bring up, and I know you hate this, but I bulge at it. Mr. TJ, I think that's awesome.
Oh, I hate it. I can't stand it.
Dude, that's so funny. I love that. That's so funny.
I don't like it because she clearly thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. And I hate that.
God, I think it's just so smart.
We gotta get the chat's thoughts on that. I hate fucking Mr. TJ.
Mr. TJ. I love that. All right, so the elimination. So basically, this elimination, one person is strapped, and they basically have a giant ass magnet, and they're just basically picking up puzzle pieces. It's pretty basic, and they're using a magnet, trying to obviously get it as close as possible to themselves, so they can obviously bring it up and hand the puzzle pieces to the partner. And once they're free, put the world together, the map of the world. Excuse me. So elimination itself. What do you think, Alex? You liked it? Didn't like it? I don't know. It's all right. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I give it about a B. I mean, I feel like there's different types of eliminations. Obviously, you have some that are like just pure strength, who's stronger than who. Some of that are like pure puzzles. I feel like this one was a classic.
Sorry. My bad. Go
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think this was a good elimination as like competition wise. Like it was very close. It was very close. The elimination itself, like the game, like I mean, it's pretty basic. But I think the thing about this game is realistically, we all know they're going to repeat games over and over again. This elimination will happen 3 times, I personally think. I mean, we all know this. Their budget's cheap as fuck. So if I'm seeing this, and let's just say Fezzi and his partner win again. Esther, excuse me. Fezzi and Esther win. This might be a good opportunity to choose a team like, and I brought this up last time, and I don't want to diss her or anything, but like Big T and CT. How would they be? Obviously, CT is good at a puzzle. Absolutely. But Big T in the scenario of reaching down, picking those up, I don't know how well she could do. So I kind of like targeting, certain people. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like this was just a classic elimination where it's something where you get in a rhythm and you ride that rhythm out because you had to pick up 12 puzzle pieces. So you had to do the same thing 12 times. And it was also one of those where I feel like a big trait that comes into play here is just composure. Like you're not going to get it up right away every single time. Like stay calm. You saw that basically what kind of killed Tracy and Kells was Tracy was pulling the thing up and like trying to go too quickly. It falls and then she freaks out and then it just makes it even worse.
Well, what she was doing, like if it's like an iPhone or whatever, like this, she was just going like she was just grabbing it like not like this, like she was just holding it like this. It was just swinging, and then obviously it just falls like that.
Yeah, save the phone. She was like she, and then they just freaked out, and I mean, but from there it was a close elimination. Like that is the one thing that I liked about it was that if once you get that rhythm back, you can kind of ride it out for a little bit. I guess, I mean, we can kind of talk about what happened. I was disappointed that Kells and Tracy went home. Tracy, I don't really know. She kind of looked bad. But I mean, Kells just seemed like a really promising rookie. Whereas can't stand Emmy, can't stand the Mr. TJ, blue hair, I'm going to cry, I'm scared of heights, all this stuff. Oh, I'm so funny, Mr. TJ. Can't stand that. And then this whole Ed clown. Let me stop there. I will admit, I'm starting to like Ed more. And maybe by the end of next episode, if he does something really funny or entertaining, I'll come around to liking him. But right now, the image I have in my mind still of Ed is him fucking running in there episode 1 with his long hair like, oh, guys, Ed's here. The challenge, it's saved. Don't worry. Fucking Ed is here. It's all good now, guys.
Well, did you notice, and I think this is so classic, is everybody's hype. Ed walks in, like you said, screaming from EP1. Episode 2, you have Amber B come in, and I think it was Ed who said, like, who is this girl walking in? Like, who thinks she owns the place? She's the fucking former champ, defending champ. I mean, this guy hasn't done one episode and just walks in like he's a god, and I bulge at it. I think it's hilarious. So I'm all aboard Team Ed. I
think we're one full episode in of Ed, and I think we've heard the word engineering at least 3 times tonight.
I think he was an engineer at an Ivy League school in Philly,
I
maybe.
I think so.
My guess, maybe University of Penn. Penn
I'm
University, excuse me.
I'm all out on Ed right now.
God, huge Ed fan. Hope to see him back. Hope he wins this season. Yeah. So they obviously win the elimination. And it's tough to see Kels go down. I think he's really good competitor, and like I said, it just sucks to see him go on something that's not like if we would have seen him in a hall brawl tonight, then you can kind of gauge, is this person really good? But it's just tough to see a guy like him go out early.
Yeah.
So we got our new teams. Ed, he chooses Tori, and then Emmy chooses Devin. So what do we think with Devin getting selected? Like the Devin, the king of the channel? Like what's going on here?
I mean, I kind of bulge at how much Devin is bulging at it, like just being obnoxious, over the top. I'm the number 1 pick. I'm getting picked over CT and all this stuff. But I mean, this is where we differ, because I just couldn't even enjoy that tonight because it was fucking Emmy. I can't stand the chick. I can't stand the Mr. TJ shtick. I mean, Emmy and Devin. Emmy and Devin are now teammates. I feel like they'll be fine. That's a good. You have 2 B+ players together. Ed and Tori. Tori's also kind of bounced around a little bit. That's another pretty good team. Who was So my question though was, who is Michelle with now?
Corey.
Oh, that's right, Corey L.
Yes.
Okay, so Corey and Michelle, I feel like that's a pretty good team too.
Yeah, I think that's a solid team. The only issue, obviously, is they're rookies. So I mean, they're probably going in the next elimination, I would say. So anything else?
Way too much shuffling around.
Oh my God, I cannot. We are going to get lost in the sauce. I think realistically, at the end of the year, I don't even know what I would set the over/under at, but the amount of times a team has changed. So right now, we've had how many team changes? 2 people went home, COVID, and whatever the other reason was. So that's 2 new teams. 2 new teams from the elimination last week. No, 3 from the elimination last week, and 3 from this week. So right now we are at, from the start of the game, 10, right? 6, 3, 3, 2, 2.
Yeah, plus all the teams that have stayed the same so far.
Yes. Yeah. So how many teams do you think we can have?
We're probably going to end up with over 50 combinations.
Oh my God.
Which I feel like the producers think that's like a cool thing, to have it like switched up so much, have 4 new teams every week. I feel like to this point it's kind of overkill. It makes it harder as fans to like follow. Whereas like you think back to some of the classic seasons, X's, Rivals 2. You tune in every week, CT and Wes are partners. Bananas is partners with Camilla. Now it's like, yeah, it's cool, you can switch, but it makes it so much harder to follow along and root for these people.
Well, yeah, Mike
the doctor with a good point.
I think the issue that could, happen realistically is no team chemistry between people.
Yeah.
But that happened during the final last season, and the team that never worked together won. So just interesting to see. So, all right, let's hop into some segments. We got good old radar watch to start us off. Alex, who is on your radar watch?
My radar watch, someone who is flying very low under the radar right now. And it's a sad pick because I'm not happy about this. But unfortunately, my radar watch pick for the night is going to be Kyle.
Kyle's not on this season.
Kyle, I think he went over tonight. I think he had 0 confessionals. We'll have to get our stat guy on that. About 30 minutes through, I was like, I need my weekly dosing of Kyle. where is he? He's usually making me laugh. He's usually telling me, he's usually making fun of TJ, making fun of Fezzi, and I don't see him on screen. So then at that point, I was kind of alert for it. I was watching to see if he ever came on, and he never had any, I don't think he had any confessionals, which is unfortunate because he's one of the more electrifying guys that we have. I feel like maybe it's just a matter of the producers know that we know who Kyle is, so it's like let's just give rookies their airtime for right now. But
Yeah, no.
I want to see Kyle more.
Yeah, probably my radar watch vet wise. I mean, I think we can all say CT has flown under the radar. Probably has one airtime so far. Tonight's episode, though, with the amount of drama, who was around and stuff like that, I'm going Corey.
Ooh.
I don't think Corey had like any airtime tonight. And, with Nelly T in the drama and Fezzi, Josh, I just feel like, he is you kind of forget he's even on this season. So,
yeah, I wonder if they're not including him just because he's playing the game for himself. Like he's doing it pretty selfishly. I don't think he's playing the game for anybody besides him.
The funny thing is about that, has he brought that up once this season?
No.
Which is unbelievable. I'm shocked. Oh, all right. Well, our last segment of tonight is one of our favorites. Good old MVP, LVP chat. Obviously, it's only two of us, so hit us up the order. Who do you want to go first? I feel like this could be an easy one for us. Obviously, only two people. And please share your MVP, LVPs in the chat as well. What do we got? Who are we thinking? I'm going to say you're going to go first. I just kind of have that feeling. Normally, the chat likes me going last.
I think we're about at almost 400 overall MVP, LVP picks.
How close are we to that? And let's, from the clip earlier tonight, are we counting his MVP, LVPs or no?
We'll count them in the list, but not for us picking because we've actually seen the episode.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
Still nothing. Amanda and Kyle are going to take that over Corey this season.
Who should give the MVP first, Alex or Trevor?
God, is
Amanda might have been a good radar watch too.
She's kind of been like flirting around with Fezzi.
She's been narrating, yeah.
Yeah. So Jesse Adams, Trevor first. There we go with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think my MVP is pretty easy tonight. I just bulge at the guy. He won the elimination. South Philly guy. Full smirk. He's awesome. He's the perfect teammate you want. He's a smart. He's an engineer. He knows how to do puzzles. He's built for this stuff. So my pick's Ed. How can you not like the guy? He brings a smile to my face. I'm literally smirking just saying his name. He's awesome.
He doesn't annoy you at all.
All right, sorry, last thing. You know what he is? He's like a cartoon character. He's fucking out of control. He's awesome. He's just someone who's like, you look at him and he's like, how is that person real and not like a cartoon character? So, I bulge at him.
Again, like if tonight would have been my first time seeing this clown, I probably would like him more. I can't get rid of the image of him running in there like awesome. TJ, Ed, it's Ed from the circle. It's Ed from the circle. You guys know me. I'm from Philly. I'm an engineer.
True or false, does he say Wawa this season at all? I don't know. I don't know if he says Wawa. I think he has a better chance of saying D'Alessandro has the best cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. So, Alex, MVP tonight. Who you got?
My MVP, I don't know how many times this guy has actually racked up MVPs in our book. I'm giving it to the man, Fezzi.
Oh, come on. Stop it.
I'm giving it to Fezzi. You throw out all the things that we saw last season. Tonight was a good fucking performance by him. It really was. He won the challenge, he got power, and he used it perfectly. He got rid of the biggest threat to him that he could get rid of. Like, obviously, you're not going to target CT right away. You're not going to target Corey right away. You're going to pick a rookie who is the biggest threat, and you're going to get him out. And not only are you going to do it, you're going to put all the blood on the goof's finger. You're going to push him in front of the train. Fezzi did that perfectly. He's fasting for Ramadan. He had a great performance tonight. Not to mention he scared off Andy for even being on the pod tonight. He's going to win a hall brawl at some point, probably. You can't argue that Fezzi had a good night tonight.
You're right. I can't argue he had a good night tonight because he didn't. He sucks. How can you go against anything you've said in the past last season? And I don't give a shit what he's done.
I'm not judging. I'm not giving an MVP based off of tonight plus last season. I'm giving a pick of episode 2.
Well, I think my LVP just changed, honestly. All right, Alex, who you got for LVP? I mean, the chat's agreeing with me. We're not crazy. Like,
no, everybody's in on the on the MVP Fezzi pick.
I mean, I see a what? I see a what the fuck, man? I see butt cheek of a pick. I mean, we're all over the place with this. So, all right, enough of that. That might be up there with the Mount Rushmore worst picks of all time. Just throwing it out there. Anytime his name is said, is just bad juju. So, all right, Alex, LVP, who you got for us?
You know, my LVP, I have an honorable mention, but I'm going to save it, is going to be somebody by the name of Sonia Kinney.
Who?
And that is a YouTube commenter of ours.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
And the reason why is because this commenter came at Trev, Alex, and Andy, giving us shit, saying the YouTube chat, you guys know, you watched the recap last week, saying that we hated last week's episode, even though we praised it for over an hour. And then she came at the award-winning listeners saying that, you guys, why do you do this? You guys don't know anything about the challenge. And all I got to say is I'm giving her my LVP, but at the same time, all we want as a pod is good vibes. Typically, we want good vibes, and she was bringing bad vibes to it. We have a great time with the chat every single week. So Sonia, if you're listening, please come back again. Give us another listen. We talked about how this was a good episode, actually, just like last week. If you don't want to come back, that's fine. You probably weren't going to anyway. But yeah, we like to have fun around here. And so, yeah, so sorry. You're going to
well, the thing that I want to say about it, in chat, if you want to go see what we're talking about, go to the episode 1 comment section. And the only thing that I want to say is about the comment, and I don't give a shit. Who cares? I mean, you're going to have that all the time, people saying whatever. But the fact that they come at us and they bring up our numbers and all, I mean, who gives a fuck? We're doing this because we love you guys. Who gives a shit? So I'm sorry that we're the only podcast about the challenge that criticizes it at all. I'm sorry we're against the norm. Sorry we're not saying, oh, this season of the challenge, it was fucking awesome. I love this season. I think it's just getting better and better and better. When realistically, anybody who watches the show from, if you started from Inferno, if you started from All Stars in episode, Challenge 2000, everybody knows it has gone downhill. Like, everybody realizes that. I mean, obviously there's steps this season right now. It's looking good. But sorry we don't just roll over and, suck their dicks of MTV production and say it's a good season when it's not. It's not. I'm not lying and going to, promote something, that we love so much and say, oh, this is so good when it's not good. So that's all I want to bring up. That I just think so many of these other people out there, you look at the
say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. Some bullshit podcast where you have to pay for money and do all that. MTV kind of tickles their ball sack and says, oh, say this about us and all that. We're not going to be like that. We're not going to be held at gunpoint to say we love the show and, we want to do what we want to do and we want to say what we want to say. And we don't give a fuck what other people think about us. And we'll be honest. So, I mean, it's obviously our take. I mean, we don't give a shit. So,
yeah. And that's part of the point is like when we have bad challenge episodes, bad seasons, is to do the podcast to make it feel a little bit better. Like Trev, if we didn't do this podcast, we would watch the show, watch a bad episode, and like go to bed like bummed about what we just saw. But coming on here, talking about the show, talking to the chat every week makes it a little bit more fun. Makes it way more fun, but makes it a little bit easier to take in when we have bad seasons. And
Absolutely.
we've built over the past season plus now a really good following with all the boys on the YouTube chat. So yeah, I mean my LVP. Sorry to single her out specifically, but that's my LVP just because, like you said, we're standing up for our pod, standing up for the listeners.
All right. Well, my LVP is another person, another AWL. And, a lot of people are going to say Alex's pick, and I think that's probably the best honorable mention we can possibly give because that pick is around the same train. But my LVP is kind of similar to what Alex said about in his MVP. He talked about Fezzi. Am I giving Fezzi an MVP? Or LVP, excuse me? No. I would never not give him one. No, I'm just kidding. But my LVP tonight is the guy who criticizes Fezzi as much as possible, and it's already episode 2, and he's kind of flaked on us. And that is my LVP tonight is Andy.
Wow.
I think him sending a bullshit video isn't good enough. And I think you guys love his rants, and I know you guys love Andy just because, me and Alex, you obviously know, we're probably the best challenge historians. We know everything. Andy's kind of just there for the hot takes of the world, going at Fezzi, talking about quitters and all that shit. And obviously you guys love that stuff. You guys, where's Andy's rant? Have a session for that. And when he's not on there, there's just a vibe that, we can try to bring our best, but, we're just not as good. I just love just sitting back and watching him, do it. And, when he's not with us, it hurts. So, episode 2 already, and he's not with us tonight. He's got to be my LVP. I mean, he has to be. And yeah, I mean, the chat's writing it right now. He's scared. He's scared. I'm Big Fezzi, scared of little 5'9" Andy. Yeah, okay. So, I just think, I don't know, just disappointed. I'm not mad, just disappointed. And Ryan McCord, hey, we would love to have Adam Meadows back. Love to have him back. I think he's definitely a Mount Rushmore of, there's only 4 of us, but top 3 guys of the career of STP, BMFEP. So we would love to have him back. Please, Ryan McCord, I know you're kind of tickling his ball sack in the DMs a lot, so please tell him to come back on the show. We would love to have him. So. All right. that was kind of a bananas LVP session. I don't even know where to begin.
It was my one honorable.
Sorry. I've interrupted you so much, and that's an honorable mention LVP. I did a really bad job tonight. But Mikey the Doctor, Fezzi wins power and Andy disappears. That is so true. I didn't even think about that too. Fezzi has a good episode. Alex literally gives him an MVP. Andy doesn't show up. Are we on fucking Pluto right now? What is going on? So I don't know. Pretty funny episode. But yeah, any other remarks, Alex? We have just been all over the place.
Yeah, we have been all over the place. I don't know if it almost sounds like we need to put Andy in like a 30-minute suspension next week or something, and just do the split screen, do the 3-way split screen, but have the third screen just be Fezzi's cameo face.
Honestly,
frozen there.
Honestly, though, I'm scared he might not even come back. I think he might have just wet his pants and he might be done. So
I have to bring on what's his name, Derek.
Honestly, I'm this close, and I think we've been tickling the idea around. If Andy doesn't show up next week, and we find out ahead of time, Ryan McCord, Jesse Adams, Mikey the Doctor, Aaliyah Hope, we will reach out to one of you guys, and we will make sure one of you guys are on the podcast with us next weekend. So be on the lookout. I'm excited if he's not on next week because it's just going to be off the rails. So anything else?
I think we're good. We had kind of low on segments because I was going to mention this. Tonight's episode is actually the first episode ever on August 18th. There is no This Day in Challenge history.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I mean, episode overall was pretty good. We'll see how long these early season vibes can ride out, but I think we're also 2 episodes in and we have a 10 out of 10 in terms of Stir the Pod vibes and Stir the Pod live chat connection. People are tuning in. Make sure you guys follow us wherever. We're on Instagram, Twitter now. And we might get some special guests on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you announce your Burger King sponsorship yet? It's not BK. I believe we have a good chance of next week. I know
we are in talks for an actual sponsorship
next week. Next week, I think we're all in.
And that's not gonna end up being like a Derek Kaczynski 30-minute ad read. You got to pay $10 a month just to get a phone call from some guy named Scott. I mean, come on. Isn't but
all right, we're not getting on this train. We're not getting on this train. So does Ed beat Andy in a Hall Brawl? I mean, come on. Ed
didn't Tony wear a paper Burger King crown on his head?
Yes. Enough of the BK stuff. But Ed absolutely beats Andy in a Hall Brawl. Ed would go good old Disney Invincible on Andy's ass, turn into Mark Wahlberg and try out for the Eagles and dominate him. So absolutely. Back to people who's drunk on the show. A lot would be Isaac in the early years of Robin. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can also follow us on Instagram. Is it stir.the.pod or is it underscore?
Underscore.
Okay. On Instagram at stir_the_pod. So thank you guys for listening to a brand new one. Shout out Duffy. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.